Okay, so going to do a video on a multi-step problem that we did today in class. So let's take a look. This is cafe cookies. Okay, so for cafe cookies, going to read the problem, going to annotate some important information, and then we're going to get right to solving it. All right, so let's take a look. Fraction Cafe is known for its delicious raisin cookies. On the average, 36 cookies are sold each day. The raisin cookie recipe calls for 1½ cups of raisins per batch. One batch makes 3 dozen cookies. How many cups of raisins are needed to make enough cookies for 1 week? Show all your mathematical thinking. So, what we're going to do here is let's underline some important information. Okay, well, we're just going to underline the information. So we know that there are 36 cookies are sold each day. Okay, the recipe calls for 1½ cups of raisins per batch. One batch makes 3 dozen cookies. All right. I'm going to underline the question, how many cups of raisins are needed to make enough cookies for 1 week? Okay, so what I'm going to annotate here on the side is that there are 36 cookies per day. Okay, all right, they're sold. 36 cookies, you could say per day. You could throw in sold per day. The raisin cookie recipe calls for 1½ cups of raisins per batch. So 1½ cups raisins per batch. When you're annotating your information on the side, remember you don't have to write it all out. Just jot it down enough where you understand what you're writing, that you're taking the information from the problem onto your paper. We know that one batch makes 3 dozen cookies, right? One batch makes 3 dozen cookies. Now, important information here is that you have to know that dozen is 12. So 3 dozen would be 12, 12, and 12, right? So 3 dozen would be 36 cookies. So one batch, okay, one batch is making 3 dozen cookies. All right? And now we're looking for how many cups of raisins are needed for the cookies for 1 week. So I'm going to jot this down of how many cups of raisins are needed to make cookies for 1 week. Now, here you're going to ask yourself, in 1 week, what do we know about a week? We know that a week is 7 days. So I'm going to jot down here underneath week, 7 days. So now I've annotated enough information here to help me solve this problem. So I need to know how many cups of raisins are needed to make cookies for 1 week. All right. So how many cups of raisins are needed for each day? Well, it says 1½ cups of raisins. I'm looking here. 1½ cups of raisins per batch. And one batch is 3 dozen cookies. Well, one batch is 36 cookies. All right. And that's what they sell per day. So for 1 day, okay, 1 day is equal to 1 and a half cups of raisins. So if we know that's good for 1 day and we're finding out 7 days, I have to take my 1.5 times 7. Okay, so the 1.5 is going to be cups of raisins. I'm going to jot it down here. 7 is number of days. Now here's where the math comes in. I'm going to do 1.5 times 7. I don't have room on the bottom, so I'm going to show you my 1.5. How do I multiply that by 7? I have to turn that 1.5 into an improper fraction. And that's where I'm going to do 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So 3 halves is the same as 1.5. And I'm going to times that by 7, right? And to make it easier for myself, I'm putting my 7 with a 1 as the denominator. That's 7 wholes. And now I have 21 halves. But do I need 21 halves cups of raisins? It doesn't sound right. It is right, but I need to simplify that into a mixed number now. So 21 over 2. How many times does 2 go into 21 without going over? 10. 2 times 10 is 20 with 1 left over, and we keep our denominator. So 10 and 1/2 cups of raisins. That is how you solve this problem. If you have gotten this far, okay, and you have watched the entire video, I want you to add a private comment. I want you to put a private comment and say, and just respond to me. Don't tell anybody else. I want you to tell me, okay, either what did you find hard about this problem or what did you find easy about this problem, okay? Put that as a private comment to me as proof that you watched this from beginning to end. And don't tell anybody else. Okay? All right. So that was cafe cookies.